No problem. All right, so Rick, just for me to be able to help you as well, um, do you currently trade at this point in time, Rick?
Yes.
Awesome. And what do you trade, Rick?
I trade the YM
Okay,
and EMD, which is low volume, but I kind of like the moves on it. I
okay,
trade YM. I look at the ES, but I don't trade it very often. I
got it.
use it as a bellwether, but mostly the YM.
Nice. Oh, so you trade the futures index. Oh, so you're
Just the
uh,
futures. I don't trade stocks or anything like that, or
got it.
forex. I don't trade forex either.
No problem. Okay, so at the end of the day, a chart is a chart for me. Price is price, and it doesn't matter which one, as long as you know how to read and your psychological component is the right mindset, then you're good to go. And how long you been trading now, Rick?
Oh, I've been studying it for about 7 years. I've been trading more seriously in the last two or three.
Okay, got it, got it. So you trade now just full time or part?
Pretty much now I'm retired. I sold. That's why like 3 years ago I got rid of my. Owned a printing company. I sold that, and
Okay,
yeah. So I trade um, pretty much every day. Not every
awesome,
like four. Well, yeah, like I miss a
excellent,
few days a month. I trade 4 or 5 days a week,
gotcha.
and my problems are always the same as a lot of people. I got to a point of profitability, but I moving up into more contracts or and
Hmm.
also is a problem, and also I have a winning day and then a break even day and then another winning day and then a losing day. So the losing day plus the commissions on wipes out a day. So profitability is limited.
Okay,
Uh, I usually quit after two or three. I don't sit on there all day if I'm losing. If I don't read it right in the morning, I don't. I go, today's not my day. I try to limit my losses.
hmm, very good.
And
So from the sound of things, you're very you're
pretty
disciplined.
much kind of limit my profits too, because if I get a couple of wins, then I get really defensive about giving it back. So
Okay,
never there's very few days where I crush it.
okay,
Where I sit there all day and I make 8 winning trades in a row. I usually after about two trades, two profitable trades, I get pretty defensive because I've learned the the sting of being up $500 and then ending up down 100 on the day is almost worse than down 300 on the day. It just feels like you gave it all back. Like so, that's where I'm at.
nice, very good. Thank you for sharing there, Rick. Funny enough, actually, my girlfriend is from Ottawa, so third, she speaks French Canadian.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I was in Toronto a couple of years ago, actually. So pretty nice. So welcome. Thank you for coming in. And I know I saw you coming online, and like, oh, I better get in contact with the Rick. But nevertheless, the topic for today is three simple steps in order to improve your trading performance. Sometimes we only see what 180 degrees that's in front of us. We don't see 180 degrees that's behind us. And hence, in any type of, it doesn't matter, it will be sport, trading, you own your business. Uh, Mass, maybe when you started out in your business, did you have some form of a business coach or some form of help, or you already knew exactly what you wanted to do with your business in order to be profitable there, Rick?
Well, I had a mentor of sorts, I guess. I worked for a company prior to that, and I studied, him. So there was that aspect of coaching back then, I guess.
Exactly. And likewise, in my opinion, like, as a trader, I started in 1996. My background is physics and mathematics and computer science and math. And I used to be a database administrator for a company in Australia before I moved here in the US. Actually, because of my sport of taekwondo, that I gave me the opportunity to travel the world and met basically the mother of my kids. And next thing you know, ended up here in the US. So I started in 98 through a friend, actually 96 through a workmate. And then I really got involved in trading. Um, Same thing for me. I totally believe in education. I didn't learn how to trade by myself. Of course, at the beginning, it was beginner's luck. I traded my first stock called Zimbabwe Platinum because I was earning $36,000 a year during the time and coming from university and no debt and like, hoo-hoo, I was like, I'm getting 36 grand. But when I got into that, my affordability is like, okay, if I'm going to test it out, I buy basically 500 shares of Zimbabwe. So it was 20 cents. It went to 60 cents. So actually more than double, tripled my money. And
Right.
basically, yeah, I got addicted. Of course, during that time, there's no such thing as technology as compared as today. It was only 256, actually 512 kilobytes. But I was plotting every price in the graphing paper in order for me to see the price. And then
Right.
from there, I got introduced to trading options, got introduced to trading system. And then at one point, I said to myself, how can I really buy and sell at a wholesale price close to where institutions are buying? Because it didn't really make sense. So from options, I traded basically when CFDs came into Australia, and I started day trading stocks, day trading futures, and then I got into the currency markets. And for me, that's simply now means what I love is the currency markets. At the end of the day, price is price. And so when I moved to the US, I was fortunate enough to meet some professional traders. I worked with one company, so I started teaching for this company as well, and met traders and went to the trading floor, and I saw the whole spectrum in regards to what it's like to be in an institutional type of trading. So I went to the VIX pit, the S&P pit, I went to the CME. New York Stock Exchange, I didn't. It was really challenging to get in. Like a few years ago, actually, I was about to go in, but the guy who is going to put us in to show us around had an emergency, and you can't get into the New York Stock Exchange unless someone's in there. So, but nevertheless, private clients, I still take private clients to the trading floor when there's an opportunity. So, but nevertheless, if you're seeing a chart, like what you see a chart right there, it doesn't matter.
Right.
This could be the ES, the YMs, this could be the Euro, Apple, whatnot. A chart, it's a chart. And there's only basically two components, right? You have price and time, and then you're adding now different variables basically based on time. But the question is, where is price coming from? And this is where I'm explaining to traders that at the beginning, at first, news didn't mean anything because from what I've been taught, hey, you follow this, you'll be good to go. But sometimes patterns could be deceiving, and it could lead to like there might be a reversal, but in actual fact, it's just a correction. Like say Morningstar patterns, for example, is a reversal pattern, yet it is also a correctional pattern, unless you really know supply and demand, and you're combining that now with a trend in terms of direction of price, where the force is going, because there's also a science behind it, right? And so from there, after going all those through experiences, I realized that in order to really to make money in the marketplace is to be very objective, where I'm not using, and this is just my experience, is that not using my own perception based on subjectivity. Because if I say, well, I think it's going to go up, or, well, I hope it's going to go up, it looks like it's going to go up, then that's now based on me. So, but once I started to be objective and looking in terms of the mechanics, what are institutions looking for? And to be basically backpacking like this little fish backpacking on a big whale, right? You have a big whale and all the bunch of sardines, and this was me. I was a bunch of the sardines, part of the retail traders, and I didn't realize the whale and going to an institutional component on the trading floor, those are the big whale. Why? Because they have all the resources in the world. So if they have all the resources in the world, then I don't have this point of resource. So what are the odds for me winning? It's so small. In actual fact, it's a 50-50 chance of winning because, yes, trading has the highest probability, higher probability than going to the casino, playing blackjack or playing poker. Blackjack is
Right.
252 cards. You're playing poker, it's 5 out of 52. You're playing a die, that's 1/6. Playing dice, 2 12s. Now, when you're trading, you only have 3 different directions of where the market's going to go, either up, sideways, or down. So you already have a starting point of 33% probability of winning. This is even before you analyzing something. Then when you start to analyze, the question now is, where is that 66%, that deficit at where you're becoming in order to create 100% probability of winning? Yes, it is challenging here, the future where it doesn't exist. That is a big question mark that creates now the emotional component of fear, the uncertainty, and hence that's why retail traders who are only looking at 2-dimensional chart will put in different indicators, and that was me. Had a RSI, moving averages, stochastics, Bollinger Bands, and all of a sudden I can't see my screen, and you have to follow certain things. Why? Because you need the certainty component that will give you the security based on the underlying emotion of fear. So once you make a decision part of the analysis, that 33% creates now a 50-50 chance of winning. Why? Either you buy or you sell, and there's nothing in between. You have to make a choice based on the probability. For me, everything is all mathematically based. That's me. I need to calculate the form of measurement that if I have an 80%, 90, or even 99.99% probability of winning, then at least I know that I would be able to place a trade. There's one thing, that's why I don't trade stocks either. Futures basically is the easiest. Why? Because in the news, there's nothing much that can look at. I love the currency markets because the dollar index, the dollar is the central hub, in my opinion, for everything. Not only that, it's like watching a basketball game, right? Like right now, Raptors versus the Warriors. Who's going to win? Well, it all depends on statistics. It all depends on the players, depends who's injured. So you can create all this data based on statistical information that you can forecast your own way whether who's going to win. So likewise, for me, for the currency markets, what is the statistics based on the euro and the US dollar? If I can create that probability, then I will place that trade. So that's why people who trade stocks are disadvantaged because they're only looking at the chart, but they're not even looking at the micro fundamental on what is the statistics of that company or what it's producing. Plus, it's all a lot of fake news anyway in terms of what they're producing on a micro component. Then you have the macro fundamental, let's say today, all based on tariffs. Trump is, a lot of news from Trump in Mexico, and hence that's what created the market to drop once again. So all these things that if we have all this piece of information and add into the probability of already winning part of what you're choosing, then you have a better edge. So that's what I got from my experience. Price is price. Every indicator out there has a purpose. So I only use 2 indicators at his own purpose. And other than that, volume is just another indicator. So if there's price and time, which is the only 2 components of technical analysis, then what's the third component? Well, the third component is distance. Distance over time. That also creates the speed. That's what speed is, right, in terms of measurement. The speed is measured as distance over time, meters per second. In this particular case, it's the distance of how fast it went that created the acceleration. And this way you can see the force of, it doesn't matter of an asset class, whether it will be an S&P, the Dow, Euro, Apple, whatnot, but you can see that every impulse that is being created, there's some form of force in there. And you can calculate that mathematically, objectively. So hence being objective. So that's simply the definition of technical analysis is simply you are forecasting something that doesn't exist yet based on a probability that you're using statistically. And part of that is, what is that data? Well, using price action with the current price, which is now present, and past data. Once you have that, you can create now the probability based on the statistics, and you can be able now to forecast based on the probability. And then the rest is simply money management, risk management, and so forth. So In my own opinion, in order to be in a peak performance state on a daily basis, three things has to be put into place. Like a triangle, middle part here is being in the zone, part of your focus, your intent. Your intention creates your focusness. So, first is the basis of the foundation of everything is your mental conditioning. So if a person cannot control their own emotions, they're screwed. Why?
Yeah.
Part of the mental component is you have the self side, meaning the being component, the actual real self, compared to the false self of what I call the ego. Have you read the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle by any chance, Rick?
What name of the book again?
The Power of Now.
No, I've never heard of that.
I would highly recommend it. It's a really good book. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And because based on here, there's simply thoughts. So the question is, where are the thoughts? What are thoughts? Where are they coming from? So we can define that, and those thoughts is being triggered by our behavior that creates a belief. But the question now is, where does it stem from? And those thoughts, is it stemming from a self perspective on the being component, or is it now stemming from an ego perspective? For example, fear is an ego because it's not the self. You cannot say to yourself that I am being confident when you're being fearful. So you have conflict between the two in terms of the level of confidence of the self and the ego of fear. That's why when someone is trading now based on fear-based, what normally happens, it leads to anxiety.
Right.
When someone is anxious, they will micromanage the trade. Then there's no longer in a space of patience. They're no longer being patient. Why? Because now they're being driven, which they think they're aware, but they're not aware. So the lack of awareness is now driving them to either not execute or close the position really, really fast. And then now they tend to forget about their planning. Their planning is now part of their technical conditioning. The technical conditioning that is now part of your technical analysis, risk management, money management, planning and preparation, and so forth. This is why that is in conjunction with the body or your physical conditioning. So the physical conditioning is the one doing the act of trading. You need to use your hands in order for you to press the button. So when the person is now in the fear state, despite having a good trading system, doesn't matter whether you have the most perfect system or not, but if you have fear, you won't be able to execute. Why? Because the focus now is not about the process of winning to make money. The focus now is about fear of losing money. So if that trader has that fear of losing money, boom, this is where the inconsistency starts to happen. Now, if you are in yourself where everything and part of the awareness is simply, okay, I am confident, I am patient, I'm focused, I am disciplined, I'm meticulous, and so forth, and that's part of the self. I'm abundant, and the focus is to make money, and you follow your plan, and you execute using the physical aspect where you're also relaxed, you are hydrated, you ate really something good. Why? Because it's been proven that if you're dehydrated, it doesn't matter what sport you do, you'll have a lack of focus. Why? Because there's no oxygen blood flow. The mind cannot just function if you're dehydrated. If you didn't eat properly, if you are tired, the mind-body continuum, the body will follow based on what the mind dictates, and you won't be able to follow the plan. However, if everything is all set into place and all these three are in alignment, part of your focus, and you get into the zone, and this is where you make money in trading.
That makes sense.
Right? So you know this. If you look at your results based on, if you look on the day-to-day component, the days that you were making money, the days that you were making money, And this is where we're going to go now to the first step. Very important. What challenges were you experiencing in your trading? So that's either today or the week. Well, today's being Friday. For us, part of our performance would be, okay, we always go through at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So there's part of the group coaching is where we discuss what challenges did you face this week in your trading. So since it's just you and I, it's almost like a one-on-one. What challenges did you face this week, Rick, when it comes to your trading?
What challenges?
Yes.
What challenges did I face this week? Well, just focus. You have to sit there for. You have to sit there sometimes for a couple hours, so your mind starts to wander.
Okay, great.
Other than that, really nothing. I had some successful days this week.
Okay, fair.
One day I held a stop too long, and that caused me quite a bit of stress. I moved my stop further back on a small trade, and so that I ended up breaking even. I mean, I saw a technical reason why I could conceivably hold on. Of course, then it went in the direction I went, and I didn't get that profit because I got in too early and had to fight that stop problem. I didn't participate in a trade that I actually saw. But I got in too early. So that was my most stressful moment of the week, and also caused me, not a loss, but a lost opportunity. So otherwise, so focus. It always comes to focus, as you just said.
Okay.
And there's always various reasons for lack of focus, whether it be, physical reason or distraction from other problems that are going on in your life. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So from what I heard from you, just to reiterate, is a lack of focus. It causes some form of stress because of a stop loss.
You go off the plan, right? I probably should have. Yes. Once you go off your, if you have a plan and you stick to your plan, then things should go either at least profitable or you'll know why you lost and you can move on to the next one. But
there you go. Fantastic.
If you go on if you take a trade that, and it's primarily, I don't just make up. Usually it just, I either got in too early or too late when the problems arise, right? It's not that I know I'm good enough to know direction. I know it's going up or I know it's going down. It's just a matter of enter at the right spot, getting that sweet spot. And if you enter too early, entering too early can cause a lot of problems too. And of course, entering too late usually will cause a problem, more likely. Too early sometimes. I mean, if it just consolidates and then does move in your direction, then you don't realize, you're not even aware that actually you got in too early.
Exactly.
But and you just think you got a winning trade that you had to wait for the load. But if you get in too late, you get in, it's already moved to 2/3 to 3/4 of the way, and you get in at the top of the curve. Well, you're going to pay for that. So too late is even bigger, and that's where fear comes in. I guess fear of missing out. You saw a big move and you want to grab some of it. You have to teach yourself not to. Yourself to wave that one goodbye and wait for the next setup rather than getting in too late.
Okay. All right. Great. Fear of missing out. Okay. So why was it a challenge for you? Oops.
What a challenge? Today or this week, I mean?
For this week, in regards to the focus. So
Well, I was distracted by other things. I had a car repair problem, and so I was dealing with that, and I probably shouldn't have been trying to do two things at once. I was dealing with my mechanic and parts guy, and
Okay.
So I probably should have I should have dedicated all my focus to one or the other.
All right.
I know that day that's what caused that problem.
Alrighty. So that also the
My other,
distraction caused
as
stress.
far as my physical side of life, there this week's been fine, sleeping, eating, drinking, but
Okay.
no, I was distracted over a outside force.
Okay. Alrighty. And how about the stress? So why was it a challenge for you? So yeah, in terms of the stress, was it the same from the distraction in the physical component?
Oh, I wasn't stressed because then I got into a bad trade.
Okay.
I mean, I took losses this week, but I um, uh, they reached my stop, and I took a loss, and then I reloaded, and when the next opportunity arose, I didn't mind that. I don't mind taking a loss if I can see why it happened.
Okay.
But I this one particular item caused me. You asked me why was my. Of course, I caused the stress. But you asked what was my most stressful. My most stressful was the situation where I entered a trade too early.
Okay.
I moved my stop even, and I took uh, 2.5 times my normal risk tolerance, and managed to dig myself out. It came back.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
So,
anyway, that was a.
Rick, why did you take more risk on that particular trade?
Well, I didn't just, I mean, I did do my diligence. I looked and I saw a spot. I saw that if the market came back, um, the market would come back far enough
Okay. I'm
that
sorry,
it
did
would
you
turn,
do
it
your
would,
due
it
diligence or
would,
you didn't do your due diligence?
I did my diligence on why I would move. I didn't just move the stop just for the sake of moving the stop. I moved the stop and managed to survive the trade, but it caused a lot of stress. You said what was my most stressful moment? That was my most stressful moment because
Mhm.
moving a stop is not a good idea usually. This one
Mhm.
ended up working out. I got back to zero. Then the stress was also that, and then I missed out on the. Then the trade carried on. The long actually did occur, but I
Mm.
was just happy to get back to even. So
Okay.
completely was off the reservation of planning there. I mean, I entered too early, moved to stop, got it back to zero, took it out, and then of course, but that was actually where I took it out was probably the entry point,
Okay,
and
great.
ended up going for ended up going and would have been a very winnable trade for the day, but missed it. Anyway,
Correct.
that was
Okay,
it.
very good. How about the loss of opportunity? So why was it a challenge for you?
Why was what a challenge?
The losing of opportunities.
Well, it's just there's not because I saw that it was going to go up.
Hmm.
I was so convinced it was going up. I saw that if it stayed higher than than a previous pivot, that the long would continue. The long situation would sustain, and so I held the stop and came back to even. But then I exited because I just said I just got to get out. Because of the I'm glad to get my money. I'm glad I got back to even, and then of course it took off, and then it's kind of disappointing that if I had waited and properly entered when the trade officially loaded correctly,
Okay.
then I would have got 3 points.
Gotcha.
Would have got 30 ticks.
Yes, absolutely. All right. And last but not the least, the fear of missing out. Why was it a challenge for you?
Well, it's always there's only so many opportunities in the day,
Mm,
and if there's usually on a good day there's the way I trade there's probably 6 to 8 good moves in a day, and because of breaks or lunches or distractions, probably 3 or 4 of those are eliminated anyway. So when you only have 4, so then you're dealing with only 4 opportunities, and if you blow one, then now you're down to 3. So there's you don't like to waste one, especially when you had it. I was in it,
hmm.
uh, but you experience teaches you that you bury it. You just go, okay, well, on to the next one.
Very nice. Okay. So,
If you hold on to it, then you're gonna, you're probably doomed to cause more mistakes. You
very
shake
good.
it off and move on.
Very nice. So the third step now then is how can you overcome these challenges for next week? Okay.
Just be more self-aware, more diligent.
Very
Uh,
nice. Okay, so let's
trade,
create.
when you're trading, you're trading. When you're
Mhm,
dealing with a loved one or fixing a car,
mhm.
then deal with the loved one with all your energy, or fix your car with all your energy. Don't try to fix cars and trade at the same time, obviously, or whatever. Don't check email and trade at the same time.
Nice. All right.
Something as simple as checking email can throw you off. I mean, what if you read an email where someone says, "Hey, remember Joe Blow? He died." You go, "Oh my God, that guy died!"
Hmm.
Just something simple as checking your email can throw you off from your trading. So why check your email? Why would you want to learn that a friend of yours died while you're trading?
Awesome. So do you have a piece of pen and paper with you there, Rick?
Uh, oh yeah, I have a pen right here.
Fantastic. Alrighty. So this is now you're going to write down your set of rules for next week. Number one, don't check your email or do not do
No,
anything.
no
Respond
distraction.
with distractions. Exactly.
Yeah.
When trading for the whole day, because that's your job, right? So uh, at least you're on the East Coast. You are
Yeah.
trading from what time to what time? 8:30 to 4.
Yeah, I trade from 8:30, quarter to nine until usually I take a break at noon, and then I come back at 2 o'clock. And
Excellent.
I
So
don't usually trade the final half hour, so I trade from 1:30 to 3 o'clock.
1:30, 3 o'clock. So you
Sure.
have your own set of rules, right? Okay, it's like opening up a business, a retail shop. My shop is open from this time to this time, lunch break in between, check my emails, do whatever,
Yep.
whatnot, and then
Yeah, I
open.
got my times. Yep.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so rule number one next week, no distractions.
Right.
Rule number two, in regards now to your physical state, in regards to your body conditioning, what are the things, the processes that you have to create for yourself in order for you to be in a good physical state next week?
Well, just maintain what I already do. I mean, don't, make sure you get as much sleep as you can.
Great. How many hours sleep do you need?
I need 5 or 6 hours. I'm not an 8 hour guy.
Great. So 5 to 6 hours,
I
perfect.
try to make sure I get 5 or 6 hours. I mean, I put myself in a situation to sleep for 7 hours, I guess you could say, and then
All right.
7 hours I get 5 or 6. I sleep 5 to 6 out of the 7 hour schedule.
Okay. And
Yeah,
what time do you normally go to bed?
I go to bed at 11:30,
There you go. So to be in bed by 11:30 and get up by
6:30,
perfect.
and then I ease into my 8:30 trading.
All
I
right.
don't start looking at my charts by 7 in the morning because I know if I sit there and look at charts for an hour and a half before the real action starts,
Mhm.
that's an hour and a half of attention span, and you only have so much. So I might look at my charts first thing in the morning just to make sure they're working and looking and maybe see what's notable. But I don't really start jotting down areas and plans for the day until after 8:30.
Okay, there you go. So look at plans. So
Shorten up the time. So yeah, so I start my day at 8:30.
okay, start the day at 8:30.
My
Fantastic.
first 15-20 minutes is all, and I have rituals and that. I look at higher time frames and plan out my day.
Mhm.
What I assume, what my plan for. Well, what I do is I make a plan for whether it's going to do one of three things, because it is going to do one of three things. It's going to
Okay.
either go up, or it's either going to go down, or it's going to just channel in the sideways. So if it's channeling the sideways, there are really no plans for that. There's no trades, but
Yeah.
I make a plan. If it starts going up,
Mhm.
um, where would I get in and where would I get out and where would I expect it to go, and vice versa if it goes down. So I'm prepared whether it goes up or down. I don't look at the market and say to myself, I mean, I might have a idea. I go, I think it's more of a down day today. But I don't get my ego involved in that I'm invested in. If it starts going up, oh God, I thought it was going to go down and it went up.
Got it.
I treat it like it's like it can do it either. I'm a winner no matter what. It's going to go up, I'll take longs. If it's going to go down, I'm going to take shorts. I'm not invested in the market having to do what I thought it was going to do. I've got rid of that.
Nice. Good, Rick. Okay, so you have a 2-hour deficit between 6:30 and 8:30. What do you do within those 2 hours?
I watch the news or breakfast. Sometimes take a walk.
Very good. Okay. So,
But I watch TV. I watch the news or watch some crappy stuff on TV or just relax.
got it.
I read my book. This morning I read a book.
Got it.
So it's just me time.
So very good. Okay, you have your me time. Do you meditate at all by any chance?
I do and I don't. I'm not very good at that. I've been working on that. I have worked on that. Okay. I have done that. I do try to clear my mind a little bit before I do. I see the power in that, and I don't do enough of that. That's something if I was going to improve on something, that would probably be an area that I would improve on, taking 15, 20 minutes of quiet reflection. Yeah.
Very good. So that's
I meditate, basically non-reflection. Just emptying the mind. Yeah. I fooled around with that.
Very good. So I highly recommend, like I said, read the book, The Power of Now. Meditate 10, 15 minutes on a daily basis prior to trading, in my opinion, just to quiet the mind. So focus, the whole point of meditation actually improves your focuses and concentration. There's a very simple meditative technique that I always teach that you can also use. It is very simple. Just a very basic breathing technique, a counting technique. Just be aware of those thoughts, that the thought that's come into play, then all of a sudden, boom, acknowledge them because you can't get rid of them, acknowledge them, and then put inside and go back to your breathing. So you'd keep on doing it, just 10, 15 minutes on a daily basis prior to you trading. Because if you have an empty mind, and then you would be able to focus and concentrate, the awareness will actually kick in. Also, the whole point of meditation is to build awareness, being present. That's why when you're trading, you're just being present. It's like competing. You're a day trader. The only difference actually between fighting and day trading is that there's no physical component. Also, the reaction time. When someone punches you, like bam, right? You got to react really quick without even you thinking. But you're dealing on a day trading environment. It doesn't matter if it be 1 minute of T-chart, 5 minutes. You have 1 minute of thinking. That's 60 seconds. That's still slow. So within that 60 seconds, thoughts will come into play. Either a negative emotion or a positive emotion. A negative thought, a positive thought that will create that emotion. And bam, this is where you're going to react based on those thought processes, especially with the lack of awareness. But if you're aware, you're being present, you're going to say, and here's a good question that you have to ask yourself. Why am I being fearful right now? Why am I feeling the fear of missing out? And then you can step back like, hang on a minute. Okay, you know what? That's not me. I'm going to step aside, go for a quick walk. I don't have any trades. Go for a quick walk, come back, and then bam, focus again. So all these types of things, once you start that level of awareness through meditation, it will improve your performance. And it's a big G word, but I guarantee that would work, right? So if you've dabbling with that, I
should get more into that. I should take more seriousness about that. Even my phraseology, I said I fool around with that. Don't fool around.
Right. Okay,
do
so
it. Yeah.
Yep, that's part of your daily routine in between the 2-hour period prior to trading. Okay, so how about the fear of missing out and the loss of opportunity? So how can you overcome these? What process can you put into place that next week, if the same thing happens again, the same feeling, now part of the awareness of your rules, what are you going to create in terms of a process that when it happens again, in regards to loss of opportunity and fear of missing out, what will you do?
I'm pretty good there. Okay. I mean, I shake those off. I mean, you asked me to describe something, so I made it sound bigger than it was. I've been around long enough to know that there's another. There's always another trade.
Yes, perfect.
There's always another trade,
Nice.
and in this business, you don't need. I've got over the idea of trading a small time frame and getting there's like where there's 20 opportunities and you're going to get 15 of them and you're going to take every turn like a Formula One driver. I just know that what, if you get 2 good trades a day, even on one contract, and you're in your pajamas at home with you didn't even get in your car, you didn't have to deal with your boss. It's a pretty good life. So I don't worry about, I'm pretty good at that. So that, the kind of thing I'm just saying to you right now, that's what I say to myself after if I miss out on a trade. Well, there'll be another one. And, a couple of trades, I talk to myself that way and
Great.
get over those things.
Awesome. There's a set of things also that level of awareness is there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So these are basically 3 simple steps, right, to improve your performance either for the next day or for the whole week in terms of your level of performance. Okay, what challenges did I face today? It's mainly a reflective aspect because at the end of the day, it's all psychological. Trading becomes easy. I mean, trading is easy on a technical level. If you know in terms of your charts, the behavior of your trades. At the end of the day, the question is, what is causing me to lose? And if we could deal with those, okay, what are the challenges that I face today? Okay, well, the lack of focus that caused me a lot of stress. And hey, then why was it a challenge for me? Well, the distraction. Great. Then tomorrow, how can I overcome it tomorrow? No distraction. Someone calls me, that will wait. It's important enough that we leave a message. If it's an emergency, then you know what? I will close my trade and then boom, deal with it. Or it's, in my opinion, everything is about choices, right? Either you choose to do something in regards to your loved one or to your car, or you choose to trade. It's been proven we cannot multitask in what you basically
can't multitask. This needs 100% of your attention.
Exactly.
Like being a brain surgeon, you wouldn't take a phone call during a brain surgery if you're a surgeon.
Very good. Very nice, Rick. Well, that's basically what the topic is for today. I hope you learned something from today. Maybe perhaps already know it. It's just a matter of a quick reminder, right?
Yeah, no, right.
I would love to hear from you next week and how you go next Friday in regards to honoring your word by, hey, you know what? No distraction. And this is now where the values of the self comes into place. Like integrity, in my opinion, plays a really big role when it comes to trading. To follow one's word, to follow the plan. So imagine the word there is so impeccable, that is so strong, that if you're following that and you have that, which creates a discipline, and this is where your results will show, right? I mean, I'm the same. I lose when I'm not focused. I lose when I'm not in a state of my own integrity, because I'm hoping, because now I'm losing, because the ego that comes into place, because of my own righteousness. So once my righteousness comes into play in terms of ego, bam, this is where I will fail. And we are, at the end of the day, we're humans. We are not perfect in regards to that. I believe there's a lot of unlearnings that we have to undo, part of our learnings in the past. And in which we can be able to reflect upon that. And for me, I've been trading, trading is very personal. I was telling my partner this the other day, my girlfriend, is, hey, look, trading is very personal for me. Why? Because it's an act of self-reflection, that if I'm not if I'm inconsistent, then what's going on is it's me, that I'm not taking either responsibility, or I'm not giving discipline, and I'm losing the focus, and bam, I have to go back once again into that if I made money for the month, awesome. Then it is more of myself. If I didn't make any money, then it's maybe perhaps I need to learn more about something. Right?
It's personal. You're measured by everything you do. I mean, you're immediately measured. You're not measured immediately. Like you either lose, you're down $100, or you win, you're up $100. Like everything is measured.
Or exactly. And also, in my opinion, it's the acceptance that losing is part of the game. Once you can admit it, then there's no fear, because you're already accepted that losing part of it. You can now create in terms of the energy level of letting the market do its thing, right? And then you're just increasing now your stop loss. Decreasing until it becomes breaking even. And then if you're seeing the prices approaching to your closer target or supply, you start taking money out of the table and then keeping, decreasing your stop. And now that's, for me, that in my opinion, that is a really good plan, is when profit now is infinite, where your risk is zero. Why?
Yeah.
Because, there's nothing there already to lose, right? Then you can have your minimum of 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. Awesome. Well, do you have any questions for me, Rick?
No, that's good. If you have these things on Friday, so I got some trader guys. I'll ask them if they want to join come on and see you on a Friday or something, and more people in your chat. But yeah, no, appreciated the talk. That was great. We'll work on those things next week.
Absolutely. Well, we have it every 10 o'clock, actually. So one guy had to leave because he went to go camping. But yeah, I do this every Friday at 10 o'clock. So
okay.
Yeah, then we'll see you again. See you, Rick.
Okay, talk to you. Thanks a lot, Reynaldo.
You're
talk
welcome.
to you next Friday, maybe. We'll stay in touch. Email. Okay, thank you very much.
Enjoy your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. Thanks for the chat. It was great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you, Rick. Bye.